Welcome to the 2016 San Juan County Law Enforcement Memorial and Candlelight Vigil. My name is Pat Flores. I'm an officer with the Farmington Police Department. It is a privilege and honor to join with peace officers from each of the law enforcement agencies in the San Juan County. Additionally, we are joined by various public safety agencies for this memorial. On behalf of the law enforcement agencies, it is our pleasure to welcome friends, families, colleagues, associates, citizens together as a community to honor the memory of those law enforcement officers, both nationally and locally, who have given their lives. I would ask you to consider for just a moment the marvels of the human mind, the imaginations, creativity, and inventions of many great minds throughout history is astonishing. But we must also admit the tendency of most of us to forget. Memories fade with time. People, places, and events lose our attention if not cultivated and recalled with frequency. To combat this, we have developed methods to help us. Whether it's writing it down, photographs, music, or holidays, the hope is to remember. It comes as no surprise then that in 1962, the federal government instituted May 15 as the Peace Officer Memorial Day. For the next few moments, I'd ask you to join us in both word and music as we direct our attention to the memory of those men and women who have died while serving and protecting their communities. At this time, I would direct your attention to the presentation of the colors by the San Juan County Sheriff's Office Color Guard and the singing of the national anthem by the honor choir of the Farmington Municipal Schools under the direction of Mrs. Shara Jennett. Thank you to the Farmington Municipal Schools Honor Choir. This time I'd like to ask Farmington Police Chief Steve Hebby to address the audience.
Thank you all for coming as we honor the sacrifice of so many good men and women. Tonight we are taking the time to remember the sacrifice of officers from San Juan County law enforcement and from around our country. We live in a nation blessed with so many freedoms that can be so easily taken for granted. The freedom of religion, of the press, and the freedom of speech all make this country the greatest on earth. A country that each of us is so fortunate to live in and have a chance to contribute to. We owe this great nation to the sacrifice of so many in our military throughout the history of our country. That sacrifice continues today as our military service members continue to work to keep very real threats to our nation and its ideals at bay. Here at home, however, we have seen the increasing polarization of our country. Intolerance of each other has become more the norm, fueled by a world of social media that is absent personal responsibility. Tonight, however, is about coming together and honoring some of our fellow Americans. People from all walks of life who can recognize that we owe so much to the men and women of law enforcement who have made the ultimate sacrifice to preserve the ideals of our nation. Unfortunately, it is not a small number that we are here to honor. Every year, between 2 and 3 officers each week give their life in the line of duty. Many more are grievously injured, though we hear so little about them. Many citizens may not know so many officers are killed each year. That's what makes events such as this so important. Although so many of our differences are highlighted in our news, here we gather together to say thank you, that you are not forgotten, and that we continue to honor your memory. The death of every officer is a terrible and painful thing. In my career, officers I worked with were killed. One was very difficult. It was the first death since I became an officer 6 years before. On October 26, 1996, Officer Dan Seeley, a 10-year veteran with the Anchorage Police Department, was shot and killed responding to a domestic violence call. The suspect then killed his 2 children. The shock of it on such a brutal call was devastating. Dan had recently married, and his wife was a dispatcher with the APD, and she was on duty at the time of Dan's killing. A few of the stories of officers killed from this past year highlight the terrible injustice. On May 20th last year, Detective Carrie Sue Orozco from the Omaha Police Department was part of a task force attempting to arrest a suspect wanted for murder when she was shot and killed. She was working her last shift before going on maternity leave after the birth of her daughter. On March 24th, 2015, Wisconsin Trooper Trevor Casper was shot and killed while attempting to apprehend a bank robbery and murder suspect. He was 21 years old and working his first shift after completing training. On May 23, 2015, Colorado State Patrol Trooper Tyler Thiefel was struck and killed while working an accident scene. The driver who hit him was fleeing from another trooper when he struck Trooper Thiefel. The trooper was still in training and had been hired only weeks before. Here in New Mexico, 3 officers were shot to death in 2015, and others were badly wounded. On March 19, 2015, Navajo Nation police officer Alex Yazzie was shot and killed, and 2 other officers wounded while attempting to arrest a domestic violence suspect. San Juan County has seen other officers killed, officers who represented our communities and raised their families here. These men and women cannot and will not be forgotten. Many of their family members still live in San Juan County. Some have gone on to become police officers themselves, continuing a dedication to this community and to this noble profession. So in the midst of all the divisiveness, all the emphasis on our differences, moments such as these still bring us together to honor all the good among us. We thank every one of these officers and their families for giving all they could for our nation and communities. Their memory isn't forgotten. Their sacrifice remains vivid in our hearts. They faced evil, and each did all they could to protect our way of life. They did so in a manner that brings pride to our profession, our community, and their families. We will never forget that sacrifice. In closing, I'll borrow a few lines from Vince Gill in one of his songs. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger to the rain. Go rest high on that mountain. Your work on earth is done. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Hebby. This time we'd like to recognize the National Fallen Officers for 2016. Deputy Floyd Fouts and Officer Joe Russum, be representing each officer with a candle. Police Officer Thomas W. Cottrell, the Danville Police Department, Ohio. End of watch, Sunday, January 17, 2016. Police Officer Douglas Scott Barney, Unified Police Department of Greater Salt Lake, Utah. End of watch, Sunday, January 17, 2016. Correctional Officer Adam Conrad, with the Marion County Sheriff's Office, Illinois. End of watch, Wednesday, January 20th, 2016. Special Agent Scott McGuire, with the United States Department of Homeland Security. End of watch, Sunday, January 24th, 2016. Sergeant Jason Gooding, with the Seaside Police Department, Oregon. End of watch, Friday, February 5th, 2016. Deputy Sheriff Derek Gear, with the Mesa County Sheriff's Office, Colorado. End of watch, Monday, February 8th, 2016. Deputy Sheriff Scott Ballantyne, with the Tulare County Sheriff's Office, California. End of watch, Wednesday, February 10th, 2016. Senior Deputy Mark Logston, with the Hartford County Sheriff's Office, Maryland. End of watch, Wednesday, February 10th, 2016. Senior Deputy Patrick Daly, with the Hartford County Sheriff's Office, Maryland. End of watch, February 10th, 2016. Major Gregory E. Barney, with the Riverdale Police Department, Georgia. End of watch, Thursday, February 11th, 2016. Police Officer Jason Mosier, with the Fargo Police Department, North Dakota. End of watch, Thursday, February 11th, 2016. Special Agent Lee Tart, with the Mississippi Department of Public Safety. End of watch, Saturday, February 20th, 2016. Corporal Nate Kerrigan, with the Park County Sheriff's Office, Colorado. End of watch, Wednesday, February 24th, 2016. Officer Ashley Marie Gwendon, with the Prince William County Police Department, Virginia. End of watch, Saturday, February 27, 2016. Deputy Sheriff Travis Russell, with the Los Animas County Sheriff's Office, Colorado. End of watch Tuesday, March 1st, 2016. Police Officer David Stephen Hofer with the Euless Police Department, Texas. End of watch Tuesday, March 1st, 2016. Police Officer Scott Fitzgerald, South Jacksonville Police Department, Illinois. End of watch Friday, March 4th, 2016. Trooper Sean Cullen with the New Jersey State Police, New Jersey. End of watch Tuesday, March 8th, 2016. Deputy Sheriff John Robert Kotfala with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, Florida. End of watch Saturday, March 12th, 2016. Officer Nathan Taylor with the California Highway Patrol, California. End of watch Sunday, March 13, 2016. Police Officer Ja'Kai Colson with the Prince George County Police Department, Maryland. End of watch Sunday, March 13, 2016. Patrolman David Ortiz with the El Paso Police Department, Texas. End of watch Monday, March 14, 2016. First Sergeant Joseph Pertaro, West Virginia State Police, West Virginia. End of watch Monday, March 14, 2016. Trooper Thomas Clardy with the Massachusetts State Police, Massachusetts. End of watch Wednesday, March 16, 2016. Police Officer Alan Lee Jacobs with the Greenville Police Department, South Carolina. End of watch Friday, March 18, 2016. Deputy Sheriff Carl Kuntz with the Howard County Sheriff's Office, Indiana. End of watch Sunday, March 20th, 2016. Police Officer Susan Louise Farrell with the Des Moines Police Department, Iowa. End of watch Saturday, March 26, 2016. Police Officer Carlos Puente Morales with the Des Moines Police Department, Iowa. End of watch Saturday, March 26, 2016. Trooper Jeffrey Nichols with the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas. End of watch Saturday, March 26, 2016. Trooper Chad Phillip Dermeyer with the Virginia State Police, Virginia. End of watch Thursday, March 31st, 2016. Police Officer Stephen Michael Smith with the Columbus Division of Police, Ohio. End of watch Tuesday, April 12, 2016. Border Patrol Agent Jose Daniel Barraza with the United States Department of Homeland Security. End of watch Monday, April 18, 2016. Sergeant Jorge Ramos with the Florida Department of Corrections, Florida. End of watch Sunday, May 1st, 2016. Investigator Anthony Freeman with the Bibb County Sheriff's Office, Georgia. End of watch Thursday, May 5th, 2016. Detective Brad Lancaster
with the Kansas City Police Department, Kansas. End of watch Monday, May 9th, 2016. This time I'd like to recognize the local fallen officers for 2016. Officer Benjamin Herrera will be represented by Farmington Police Officer Greg Burridge. Officer Benjamin Herrera was shot and killed after he and two other officers responded to a report from a woman that her husband was drunk and threatened to kill his family. The officers located the man's vehicle at a nearby trailer park and began to search him. The man surprised them and held him at bay with a rifle. The officers attacked the man when he became distracted. During the scuffle, the man gained control of Officer Herrera's service weapon and shot him in the chest. He shot the other 3 times before the third officer was able to subdue him. The suspect was sentenced to a total of 10 years for the murder of Officer Herrera and the attempted murder of his partner. Officer Herrera was a World War II veteran and had been with the agency for 1 year. He was survived by his wife and 6 children. End of watch, Saturday, March 31st, 1962. Lieutenant Owen Landeck, represented by Farmington Officer Megan Osborne. Lieutenant Landeck was accidentally shot and killed in a police academy training exercise. Lieutenant Landeck was playing the role of a deranged husband in a mock domestic call. The scenario called for Lieutenant Landeck to draw a gun at one point, and a cadet would return fire. Inadvertently, the cadet's gun was loaded with live ammunition instead of blanks, and when the cadet fired his weapon, he killed Lieutenant Landeck. Lieutenant Landeck has been with the agency or was with the agency for 10 years and in law enforcement for 20 years. He was survived by his wife, daughter, and son. End of watch, Friday, August 17, 1979. Officer Wayne Stedman will be represented by Bloomfield Officer Orlando Moreno. Officer Wayne Stedman was killed when his department vehicle was struck by a dump truck while he was assisting with a medical emergency call. Officer Stedman had served with the agency for 2.5 years and was survived by his wife and young son. End of watch, Saturday, February 27, 1982. Patrolman David M. Smith with the New Mexico State Police will be represented by State Police Sergeant Ron Foreman. Patrolman David Smith was killed in an aircraft accident while performing an aerial speed enforcement operation. After the operation ended, the officers radioed that they were going to fly over the enforcement zone one last time. As they did so, one of the aircraft wheels struck a power line, causing the aircraft to strike the ground. Patrolman Smith had been with the agency for 6 years and was survived by his wife, daughter, and son. End of watch, Monday, August 6, 1984.
How are they doing that?
Patrolman Lowell D. Howard with the New Mexico State Police will be represented by State Police Officer Gerald Curley. Patrolman Howard was killed in an airplane accident while performing an aerial speed enforcement action. After the operation ended, the officers radioed they were going to fly over the enforcement zone one last time. The aircraft struck a power line, causing the aircraft to hit the ground. Patrolman Howard has been employed or was employed with the New Mexico State Police for 6 years and is survived by his wife and 2 sons. End of watch, Monday, August 6, 1984. Farmington Community Service Officer Victoria Louise Chavez will be represented by Farmington Community Service Officer Alma Chavez. Officer Victoria Chavez was shot and killed while conducting a vacation check of a local residence. When she arrived at the house, the owner's son emerged from the residence with a shotgun and opened fire, shooting her before she exited her patrol car. Officer Chavez had served with the Farmington Police Department for 18 months. She is survived by her husband and 2 daughters. End of watch, Thursday, July 9th, 1992. Farmington Sergeant James Thode will be represented by Farmington Officer Rodney Croker. Sergeant Thode started his distinguished 14-year career with the Farmington Police Department in 1996. During his initial years, he served as a field training officer as well as member of the training division, where he received the Owen Landick Training Award. He also assessed for the prestigious Special Weapons and Tactics team and ascended to the vital role of team leader. Sergeant Thode had enlisted in the United States Army in 1984. After finishing his degree at the University of Arizona, he was commissioned and entered active duty. Upon completion of his commitment, he rejoined the Army National Guard and served with a combat engineer unit stationed in Blanding, Utah. In 2003, he deployed with his unit to Iraq, and upon his return, his unit was transitioned to a sapper unit. In 2010, his unit deployed to Afghanistan to serve a road clearing function. This dangerous task was greatly needed. On December 2nd, 2010, Sergeant Thode was killed in action while locating an IED. Sergeant Thode's memory is honored by the James Thode Leadership Award, which is issued to those mid-level supervisors who consistently promote career and personal development of others, encourages others to strive for self-improvement and/or personal achievement, or routinely provides positive leadership with uncompromising integrity and dedication to the Farmington Police Department. Sergeant Thode tragically became the first active Farmington police officer to be deployed on military assignment and killed in action. He was survived by his wife and 2 children. End of watch, December 2nd, 2010. Senior Police Officer Alex Yazzie with the Navajo Division of Public Safety, Tribal Police, will be represented by Officer Josh Simpson. Senior Police Officer Alex Yazzie was shot and killed near Red Valley, Arizona, while pursuing a subject who had shot at another officer who had responded to a domestic violence call in Little Water Trading Post, New Mexico, shortly after 4 p.m. The initial call involved a report of a barricaded situation in which a subject armed with an AR-15 rifle was holding his family hostage. The man opened fire on responding officers and then fled across state lines into Arizona, approximately 29 miles away. The man opened fire on officers a second time after they located him in Red Valley at approximately 10:30 p.m. End of watch, Thursday, March 19th, 2015. Would you join me in a moment of silence to honor these officers?
10. Half left. Stand by. Hey! 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 Half right. Hey, set. Out. Ready, go! Out, yeah! Out! Out, man! Out!
Once again, I would direct your attention to the Farmington Municipal Schools Honor Choir as they sing God Bless America. We'd like to thank the Honor Choir of the Farmington Municipal Schools under the direction of Mrs. Shara Jennett. It is our privilege to once again honor those who have fallen this last year and to remember all those in time past who have given their lives to the protection, guardianship, and service of this great country. We offer our thanks to those here today who represent those officers in our community who have paid this price. May God help each of us to remember their sacrifice and pursue the goals and ambitions they left behind. The Bible says in the book of Micah, "And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God?" On behalf of the San Juan County law enforcement agencies, we thank you for joining us for this law enforcement memorial. May God be with you.
Hang on! Out here! Go! Yes! Yes!